It's Corso and Catone. Brought to you by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Now for the real deal New England feel, Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. I'm Corso. Catone's right there. Joe's with us in the booth. You are listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, anyway, podcast 790 The Score. And if you're watching us, you're doing it on YouTube. Hey, make sure when you're on YouTube, you subscribe. Give us that thumbs up and that like. That's what we want. We want the likes. And comment in the sections while you're taking a look at the show. And also our shorts and short reels. Those seem to be real popular, so check those out on YouTube. And if you want to talk with us, you can do it in Heated Hotline, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. It's a message line. Leave a message 24/7. Joe will pick one. We'll play that one for you. Let's let it be yours. Or you can email us in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. Hey, we got a busy one, a good one. 1 week to go, guys. 1 week to go. We're going to go Pat's preview. Going to hear from Mike Vrabel in Pat's preview and go through some scenarios, talk a little Hunter, talk a little Carter, and so on. And Yankees versus Red Sox. So I think B's and C's first. We're going to do that and talk about the Celtics matchup against the Orlando Magic. And then we're going to go Yankees versus Red Sox, talk a little about the Red Sox slumping and pretty much who we thought they would be. And Mark's going to give us his final PC minute, Providence College minute, talking about the portal and some things like that. We didn't get to it last week, Mark, so we're going to
No, we didn't get to it. We'll do it this week at the end.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
What's going on? Listen, 1 more week to go, Chris. 1 more week before you rip what's left of that your hair because you don't have much left on top. Rip it out.
He's just mean. Hey, did I mention we're going to hear from you in Catone's comments today? I don't think I said that. Well, we're going to hear from Mark in Catone's comments.
No respect, Joe. No respect.
Nothing.
No. Who the hell respects you,
No,
Why should you be any different than me? What the frig?
Listen, hey,
But speaking of respect, everybody stand at attention because we're going to hear from Mike Vrabel in the next segment. We'll do it in Pat's preview. Joe?
Pat's preview.
Okay, Mark. So we're like we said, we're 1 week away.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel took to the podium this week and had a few things. He answered a lot of questions about the draft, and this is what he had to say.
Philosophy in the past on drafting best available as opposed to position need, and how does that evolve maybe round by round or even year?
Well, would love for them to align, having a need and having the best player be there. That doesn't always happen, and we certainly want to pick the best player as many times as we can.
If Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter are gone, who you selected for, do you know what you're going to do? You don't have to say what you're going to do. Do you know what you're going to do?
Well, we're in the process of going through what everybody calls these simulations, and that's been and will continue to be good exercises.
The fact that you're the one doing this pre-draft press conference, does that reflect that you have final say over the draft?
No, I think that would just reflect that I was the person chosen to talk to you guys today.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. That, of course, was Mike Vrabel, the head coach of the New England Patriots, answering questions about what they, what do they intend to do with that fourth pick, and what kind of players are they trying to draft, and was asked specifically about Hunter and Carter and would they take them there. And you don't have to tell us what you're going to do, but do you know what you're going to do it for? And then, of course, who's in charge?
Yeah.
You're at the podium, so are you making the pick? So let's start there really quick. Okay. This is the guy handle. I mean, the whole free agency period tells us that it's Vrabel. Those are all his guys.
Those were all his guys. Yep.
And everything so far that you've heard coming out from draft prep and so on, I just don't see. I don't see Elliott Wolf's fingerprint on any of this, Mark.
No. Listen, like you said, every free agent that came in, Chris, had a connection to either Vrabel or somebody on his staff. That's all that was brought in. nobody that Wolf had, had any connection to or anything. And yeah, this draft has everything to do with what Vrabel and his team thinks they need and what they want. I mean, they might consult, Wolf and the scouts that work for Wolf to say, hey, give us some tape on this guy. We're looking for this. But they're not making any decisions, I don't think, Chris.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, like you said, it's a collaborative effort. I mean,
It is, yeah.
For those who think that these teams are sitting in a draft room and one guy's just saying, okay, let's do this. No, I mean, there's a lot of people doing a lot of things that have prepared for this.
Yeah.
But I think if it comes down to equal grades, this guy, this is what we're going to take. Now,
Vrabel's the tie-breaking vote. He'll say, no,
so.
I want this guy. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, talking about Hunter and Carter, the first thing, I mean, they ask him in so many different ways.
Yep, go ahead.
Well, they ask him in so many different ways about what you're doing here. And the debate keeps coming about best available player or position player of need. And he talks about, well, we like those two things to align and come together, but that doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
How are you drafting if you're doing it?
Well, listen, I think at one point when that scouting department and when Belichick had his best drafts, Chris, I think earlier in our run, it was always they took the best player available. Didn't matter whether they needed it or not, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how we ended up with guys like, Vince Wilfork dropping and even guys like that. Dante Hightower at the time. I don't think they necessarily looking for a linebacker. He fell in his lap. He drafted him.
When they didn't really need like a Richard Seymour, when they didn't really need that position.
But they took the best guy that was there. He was the best guy there. We're taking him. You know what I mean? But then as time went on, Chris, they got to picking for need, whether or not they were the best guy available or not. And that's when they got into trouble. So I hope Vrabel learned from what that end of that Belichick regime did. And listen, just because you need a tackle, obviously, at 4.
Yeah.
Is that the best thing to do? Is take this kid Campbell, Chris?
Well,
because he's need. It's need. I mean, I don't know. Do you think he's the best player available at 4? If you didn't need a tackle, if they said pick the best player available at 4, is he the best player available?
No. I can give you 3 guys that to me are ahead, and I would say Mason Graham. I know you don't like him. I don't want to draft him either, but he's got a better draft grade.
Okay.
I would say the tight end from Penn State.
Yep.
I
would even say Jalen Walker.
And I put him in the same class as the Campbell pick. Okay. And Genty, by the way, I was going to put in that 3 with those 3 guys. Okay. Genty, Graham, and what the hell is the kid's name from Penn State? The tight end.
What is it? Is it Warren?
So yeah, and so I think so. But then after that, you have a group of guys to me, and that's where Campbell comes in. That's where Jalen Walker comes in. That's where Membu comes in, the tackle from Missouri. That's where to me Banks comes a little further down there. Those are the guys, and that's it to me. When you get to that situation, where you're saying, okay, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then to me, your guy, the on the list of people that maybe the receiver, that's that class, that group of people. But so do I take Campbell at 4? No, because I think you can get him at 6 or 7. If you can find a trade partner. But you think that, and then tomorrow on the Pats Nation, 8 a.m. Eastern, make sure you're tuning in. We're going to talk about some scenarios Mark and I are coming up with, but feel free to do it now, Mark. But I mean, if you have to pick at 4, and Carter and Hunter, and I do want to ask you about those 2 individual players too, but if you have to pick at 4, or you're going to pick at 4, and those 2 guys are gone, who are you taking?
Well, you're going to be stuck.
I know you want to trade out, but who are you going to
But
take?
you might be stuck there, Chris, because you may not find a trade partner. So if you're stuck at 4,
Right. There you go. That's the good scenario. Yeah.
right? If
Nobody
you're
wants to
stuck
trade.
at 4, no one wants to trade with you. If you're stuck at 4, because if say you're the Raiders, Chris, and you want to take Shadur Sanders, Jacksonville's not taking him at 5.
Right.
So
You could
can
sit
at,
there.
You can sit at 6 and take him because no one's taking him ahead of you, right?
You just have to hope that nobody's trading with us.
With Jacksonville or with us.
No, yeah, with us together.
You're gambling, right? And
Right.
and the
That
wild
New
card
Orleans is the
New
key.
Orleans is the wild
Yeah.
card, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
But so say you're locked in the 4 because you can't get out of 4. What do?
Yeah.
Well, that's a problem. And the more I've looked at this and studied this, Chris, I think they're taking Campbell. I'll tell you who I would take, but I think they're taking Campbell.
Regardless,
If they're stuck at 4, if they're stuck at 4, and Carter and Hunter are off the board, I do believe they're taking Campbell. I really do.
I do too.
Okay, and so now,
Which do you fault them for that?
Well, I guess, Chris, like you said, unless you're not going to take Gentry, you can't. Right? You don't need a running back. You're not at that. You're not in your level of development where you could say, we can waste the number 4 pick on a running back. You can't do that. You can't waste it on the tight end from Penn State because you just can't. Right? It's not like you're taking Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr. That would be a no-brainer. Those guys aren't here in this draft, right? So
how about Mason Graham?
Chris, listen.
There's a lot of people have him. All 3 of those guys, people have graded over.
All right, I'm
going to
tell you
best
something.
player.
Chris.
It's
All right,
the
I'm going
tight end.
to tell you something. I've watched now because I think we're stuck at 4. So I've watched the last 3 nights. I've looked at a lot of tape. You're going to think I'm crazy.
I already do.
I think. Oh, I know that. I think this kid Jalen Walker, Chris, is a game wrecker. The kid's all over the field. You can put the kid all over the field in all different spots, Chris. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if there's that much of a gap, that wide of a gap between him and Carter.
Oh,
Chris, listen to me. Have you really watched tape on this kid Walker?
I have. Yes. I have.
Chris, there's a gap. There is
I'll
a gap.
push back in a minute. Go
No,
ahead.
there's a gap. There's a gap, but it's not as wide, Chris. It's not like Mika. Carter's not Mika Parsons, Chris. He's not. I don't care what anybody says. He's not. Go watch the tape on Parsons coming out of Penn State. It's not even close. Him and Carter. Parsons was on another stratosphere. Carter is good. He's better than Walker. There's a gap. However, Walker is a better prospect than Campbell. We're only taking Campbell because they need a damn tackle. Walker is going to be going to make more Pro Bowls and be a better pro than Campbell at that linebacker position. You mark my words. 5 years, 6 years from now, after we take Walker, everybody's going to say, man, we should have taken that freaking kid Walker. We should have taken him.
The problem is this, okay? I love Walker too, but I don't like him more than Carter.
I don't
because
like
you know
him
why?
more
Because
than
you could
Carter,
put Carter
but I
in
don't think the gap, Chris, is as wide as people
because
think it is.
of how you can use him. See, the problem is you can't use Walker on down. You can't put him in a gap. You can't. I mean, yeah, you can bring him off the edge and you can go sideline to sideline and he can get into coverage. Okay, but Carter can do all of that plus play down as well.
Okay. But you don't have that on this team and anybody right now. So either Carter or Walker, you don't have one guy on this roster.
But the bigger
like
issue
them.
is this. The bigger issue, okay, because we're not really comparing Carter to Walker. I know you are, and I understand.
No, I'm not. I just did it, Chris.
Because you're going to take
say-
Carter if he's there, right?
Absolutely. He's my
Okay,
fourth
so
pick. if he's there,
who you're
100%.
comparing, the 2 players you want to compare right now to me are Walker and Graham. Because if you're looking at 2 defensive players and you look at Graham, you say, well, because most people say if you took Graham at 4, that's not a reach. He's the next group of guys. They say if you take the tight end from Penn State at 4, not a reach. Genty, same thing. But if you come and take Walker there, that's more of a stretch. And I think the reason why is because when you grade out, when you grade these guys out as overall, you start to look at front four push versus second level guys, and that's the Walker's the second level guy. Graham is down in the trench, and everything's going to a 4-man front and push forward and push pressure that way. That's why I think that's the situation. But when you compare Walker to Campbell, the reason why Campbell's grading out higher for people is because of the premium position factor.
Yes, absolutely. But I'm telling you, Chris, Walker's going to be a better pro than
I agree.
Campbell,
Oh,
because
I
I
agree.
don't think, Chris, you know what's
Wholeheartedly.
going to happen? Campbell's going to get kicked over the guard. He'll be an all-pro
And
guard.
then it's a bust. Then it's a bust at
The
4.
fourth pick in the draft is you're taking a guard.
It's a semi-bust at that point. If that ends up happening, yeah. Listen,
Chris,
I'll
I'm
take
going to tell you. I'll
because
tell you
if they
what
trade
happened
back to 9 with and we're over, but if they trade back to 9 with New Orleans,
Yep.
okay. Walker Campbell.
Are
someone
you
was
okay
saying-
with taking Walker 9?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. I'm good at taking Walker over Campbell. I want Walker
Chris,
over
I'm
Campbell.
going to tell
with
you what
That's
concerns
it.
me about Campbell. I watched some tape on him Sunday night. I couldn't sleep. You know me, I'm up to all hours of the night. He's gotten beat to he can get beat to the inside, Chris. And the reason he gets beat to the inside, if you watch the tape, is because of that wingspan. He's got great footwork, but he gets beat inside because he don't have the wingspan, Chris, to prevent it. And in the NFL, you can't play tackle if that's going to happen to you. Not left tackle, you can't.
Talking about Campbell, yeah.
Campbell, absolutely. Watch the tape, Chris. He gets beat to the inside.
A lot.
But look why he gets beat to the inside.
I don't want him.
It's because of the wingspan.
I'm not looking for him there. I'll take him at 9, but I'll take Walker instead.
Listen,
I'll take Campbell if Walker's not there.
Yes, they're going to take Campbell at 4.
Oh, and I think so too. So we'll see. So we both agree that if Hunter's there, they take him. If Carter's there, they take him.
Yes.
And
yes,
Mark and I are out on Campbell at 4 for sure.
Yes.
But so we'll see what happens there. But Pat's preview was presented by the Pats Nation, Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Hey, tune in tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of draft talk. Going to have, what are we doing? Running backs and wide receivers tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day.
Hey, tomorrow, Chris, you brought up
So-
New Orleans. I have an interesting idea about New Orleans tomorrow. We're going to talk about it.
We in the business call that a tease. B's
Yes.
and C's is up next.
Sundays are for football. And here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with Corso and Catone. Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m.
Okay, back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal New England Field. All right, Mark, we're a little behind. We wouldn't shut up on the last segment.
That's all right. Listen, it's draft talk. Listen, it's draft talk.
Okay. So, got to talk Bruins, Celtics.
Yeah.
Do it in B's and C's. Joe. Okay, Mark, let's start with the Celtics. If we don't get to the Bruins, the hell with it.
Yeah, they stink.
So
Season's over. Forget it.
Celtics are opening up on April 20th, is it? April 20th, and they're going to do it against the Orlando Magic, who dispensed with the Atlanta Hawks in their play-in tournament deal, whatever.
Yep.
So now we got the Magic. Okay, and I'm looking at my notes here. I have notes and stats and things. Played them 3 times, right?
Mhm.
Went 1-2 against them. So everybody says, "Oh man, they got us twice." Well, the April 9th last week or whenever it was, they lost by 20 points. The Celtics did to the Magic. There was nobody playing. I don't think the one starter was playing in that game. The closest you had to starters were Pritchett and Cornette in that game.
Yep.
So I take that as a one-off. But now you go back to December. Okay, the first time they played was December 23rd. The Celtics lost 108 to 104. Okay, and then dispensed with them, and that was on the road. And then at home on January 17th, Celtics won 121-94 and beat the hell living crap out of them. So I want to talk about some of the players you're a little concerned with, but I'm going to throw out the ninth, the last time they played, for a minute. So I'm not going to look at those. But, Mark, what's interesting when you look at those games, and it's what we've been talking about all season long, when do the Celtics run into issues? When the
they can't hit threes.
When the 3-point shot's not falling.
Yeah.
So in December, okay, and that was the loss. The Celtics 3-point field goal was 24%. They shot 24% to the Magic 39%. And there's your loss. They only lost by 4. But that's what it was. I mean, the field goal percentage was pretty much even with both teams. But that's where you look at that. You know, you look in that situation, and the points in the paint, we were ahead on that too. So it really comes down to the 3-point field goal. I mean, we were 8 for 33 in that game. So there's that one. And then in the win, conversely, 121-94, they had a better percentage. So my point is, you know, I think Boston shot 45% in that game, and it was 17-37, something like that. And then Orlando shot 15%, and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So you know, when you break this series down, and I watched that Atlanta game. I watched a few games for the Magic. I mean, who the hell's watching the Magic all season long? This is a team that can hit threes.
They can. And when they're on, you know, the kid off the bench, Cole Anthony, is a real good 3-point shooter because he had 26 points the other night off the bench. The kid Black comes off the bench and scores points. They hit threes. When they're on, Chris, and they got guys like Banchero, the kid from Duke, who can get to the basket, can get rebounds. They got Wendell Carter, who can defend a little bit. He's big. He can get some rebounds, and they kick it back out. When they're shooting well, Banchero and Carter also get points inside off rebounds and off of kicks. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, but
I mean, Banchero averages 7.5 rebounds a game. But when you look at the 3-point percentages for some of these guys, okay, you talked about Anthony, right?
Yep.
So Anthony's looking at, he's shooting 35%. That's not bad.
No.
He's shooting 35%. You got that's Anthony. You got Anthony Black shooting 31%. You got Wagner shooting 36%.
And he's a bigger guy. He's like 6'9", 6'10". Yeah, 7. Yeah.
Suggs at 31%. Banchero shoots 32%. So the point is, if these guys are shooting,
Chris, they're going to hit at least a third of their 3-pointers if they're shooting decently.
So at some point in this series, the long and the short people is they're going to outshoot us. They're going to have a better percentage from 3-point line, and that'll be a game. That'll be the game the Celtics lose.
That'll be the game you lose. Yep.
So nobody agrees with Paul Pierce?
They'll shoot like 45-50% in one game. They will. You're right. And that'll be the game we lose.
Nobody
what
agrees
did Paul Pierce say?
Paul Pierce, he says the Celtics going to sweep.
I think the Celtics, Joe, will win in 5. I think I'm going to say, like Chris said, I think Orlando will shoot themselves into one win. But more importantly, Chris, than Orlando, the Celtics, Jaylen Brown. You know, he's getting injections in his knee. Should he play in this series? Should you just shelf him and say, listen, we can beat this team without you. Let's rest. What do you think?
No, I don't think you shelve it because you're never going to get him to agree to that. Okay. So I think that you watch him and sparingly. I mean, I don't think he needs to be playing 30, 32, 38 minutes, you know,
to beat this team, right?
To beat this team. No, I don't think so. So if you jump out to a good lead, yeah, you may want to. They have a big gap between the first game. I think they play Sunday and then Wednesday.
Yeah, so they do get some time off in this.
Right.
You know, before the game 1, they got some time off, and you're right. There's a little bit of a gap after game 1. So
you play him in game 1, and then you see how he feels by game 2 and on Wednesday, and then it's Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Now, Where they're going to.
One thing is, did Porzingis play in any of those Orlando games?
I don't have that. I would have to go back and take a look.
I don't know if he played.
I don't think so. I don't think he played in December and January.
No, that's
and
what
I
I'm
know
saying.
He didn't play in April.
So that's what I mean. So I don't think Orlando's ever faced this year with Porzingis.
Right, which is a huge deal because let's not forget Porzingis ups their field, their 3-point. And look, we keep talking about 3-point percentages because we know what they're going to do. I mean, we know what they want to do. I will say that coming down the stretch, and maybe this was intentional by Missoula, you saw a lot better inside game. You saw a lot more kicking the ball around, hopping, good spacing, and they weren't afraid to get in low and have some. You saw Hartford with post up. You saw Porzingis, although I think they were really careful with him underneath.
Oh, absolutely.
With rebounds. You saw him kind of give up on some rebounds, give up on some things because I just don't think they wanted him to screw around.
No, I think he was running up and down the court, Chris, just to get him back into shape cardiovascularly. I think because he missed so much time with that infection, I think they were just looking for him to get his lungs and get in shape and be ready for the playoffs. You're right. I don't think he was like going all out trying to get rebounds and block shots. And I think he was just getting himself in shape and getting his wind for the playoffs is what I think he was doing.
But I'll tell you this. I don't think they need either guy to win this series. I don't think they need Brown or Porzingis to win this series. No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I'm interested to see what Holiday is going to bring to the table because he's had a, different kind of year.
He has. Listen, it's playoff time. He's a vet. White, right? What do those two guys bring, Chris? White's been kind of up and down, Chris, all year. Right, he's had stretches.
Well, White had a good closing,
But he had I was just going to say that, Chris. There were times he didn't look that good this year, but he closed strong. He looks like he's ready for the playoff push. Right.
We got to see if Holiday and Brown can bring the same defensive intensity because that's what it is. I don't care about the 3-pointers. I'm telling you now, if Boston brings the defensive intensity and they play the defense the way they did against Dallas in the championship, I don't think there's anybody that can beat them. Anyone. Yeah. So if they bring that kind of defensive intensity, so we'll see. Mark, how many games? You got them in 5?
I have them in 5. What do you got them in?
I got them in 5, and I got them losing game 2 at home. They're not going to lose on the road. They're going to lose at home.
I could see that, Chris, losing at home game 2, and because they play better on the road. It seemed like this year.
You don't see these trends stop just because the playoffs start.
No, you don't. And what about Tatum? What do you expect out of him, Chris?
I expect the same steady play that he's had all season long. I mean, for all the crap I've given him over the years, and I'll eat it, I expect him to be the same 26, 26, 10, and 7, like that. Assists, just do it all. Do everything out there. I still don't like him with the last shot, but,
So playoffs are starting. Do they repeat? Your early prediction, are they repeating?
Yes.
I got to put you on the spot. The playoffs are starting. Yes. What do you think? Okay. Yes, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say yes. Joe's even saying yes. If they can stay healthy, Chris, there's nobody in basketball that's going to beat this team 4 times.
And not have to play Oklahoma. All right. So
no, even Oklahoma. Listen.
Oklahoma may wet themselves in a series like that.
They may wet themselves. I don't think Chris, I don't think Oklahoma can beat them 4 times. I really don't. If we're healthy and Porzingis and Brown and everybody's playing, Chris, I honestly don't think anybody right now in this league can beat you 4 times. I don't.
The only team that really concerns me, believe it or not, is Cleveland. I worry about Cleveland.
With Porzingis on the court? Yeah, if Porzingis is in the lineup, I'm not so worried about them. I'm going to tell you why, Chris.
I'll see it going 6. I could see Cleveland going 7.
I'm going to tell you why, Chris. I know they got Donovan Mitchell, and Mitchell has a field day against us. He goes off on us a lot of games, but I'm going to tell you something. With Porzingis in the lineup, I think Cleveland's a little soft, Chris.
You think that negates Mobley? You think that completely
negates I think it does because I think Mobley, Chris, is a little soft. I think the games that we've beaten Cleveland, I think it's because we give him a little bit of attitude and play defense. And I think other than Donovan Mitchell, I think Cleveland's a little soft, Chris. I don't think they can beat us 4 times. I honestly
Well, we'll
don't.
see. I mean, we got a couple of series before we get to that situation.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that happens. And just really quick on the Bruins. They finished, I think, in the number 4 spot. So they're in the lottery now. We don't think Sweeney should be making this pick, but he's going to hang around. He's still going to be there. The bigger thing is, and talk real quick, 20 seconds on this. Jacobs came out and is basically blaming Montgomery for this situation.
He said we came out of camp and not prepared, Chris. He said.
Meanwhile, Montgomery has taken St. Louis. He willed that team to the playoffs, and they're not much different than the Bruins. So screw you, Jacobs. That's the wrong call.
Listen, friggin' those guys shouldn't be making any picks, Chris. They should be wiping out that whole front office. They're not going to. Sweeney should be gone. Neely should be gone. It's not happening. So you know what? That's a joke blaming him. Really? Come on.
So we'll see. They got like a 20-some-odd% chance.
And the other coach you got rid of is the number 1 seed in the West and got a shot to win another Stanley Cup at Vegas.
Right. Well, he already won one after he left Boston.
He's the favorite to win another one.
Yeah,
Chris.
of course. I know. So we'll see. Got a 20-some-odd% chance to get the first pick in the draft. There's only, to me, 2 blue chip guys in this draft anyway. So we'll see.
So you gotta get in the top 2 of the draft.
Right. So we'll see what happens. But B's and C's was presented by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm, CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Here we come back. You ready to go?
I'm ready. Of course I'm ready.
Buckle up. Catone's Comments is next.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help.
Time for Catone's Comments!
Listen, I know we're going to talk about Yankees, Red Sox later in the show, but listen, I promised you last week I wasn't done with Alex Cora, and I'm not done with Alex Cora. He needs his own segment, and that's why he's in Catone's Comments. Now, before I get to everything else I want to talk about Cora, which I didn't get a chance to talk about last week. The other night, they get beat 16-1 by the Rays. 16-1. Okay. And Cora says, after the loss, he says it seems like there was a team that was prepared for the other one, and the other one wasn't prepared for them. That goes from the top all the way to the bottom. That wasn't a good night for us. I'll take the blame because it seemed like our team wasn't ready to go. Your team wasn't ready to go. How many games have you played now? I don't know. What if they played it? They've been playing now for a couple of weeks. Your team wasn't ready to go. Listen. This guy, they won a championship in 2018 with a team that had some veterans. They had professional guys. They had Bogarts. They had talent on that team. But listen, he had the iPad in the dugout. They were getting signals from the bullpen. Listen, that team, like it or not, Red Sox fans, that team cheated. They had a guy in the World Series who got World Series and hero who batted about 108 all season. He come off the bench in that series because he knew what was being thrown. He knew the signals. He knew what was being thrown. They were giving him signals. He hit the cover off the ball. That's a travesty. So what's Alex Cora actually done as a manager? Take out 18. Because they cheated, guys. I hate to burst your bubble. They cheated. Okay? So, his teams don't get better as the season goes on. They fade, and they quit. They're soft. He just said one team wasn't prepared. His teams are never prepared. Okay? Last year, at the trade deadline, the Red Sox should have made more deals because we thought they had a shot to possibly make the playoffs. They're hanging around the 500 mark. Okay, they didn't make any deals. They made a couple of small ones. They didn't make enough. Fine. However, your team folded up. They folded their tent and they quit at the end. The month of September, that's what the Red Sox do under Cora. Year before, they stunk. But they fade and they quit. under Cora. They're never mentally tough. They're just not a mentally tough team. They've never been a mentally tough team. They're leading the league in Ks. They're leading the league in strikeouts. Sorry, I said they're leading the league in errors. Yeah, I get they're hitting home runs. Okay, big deal. That's the new swing. They're swinging up. They're swinging up on the ball. They're getting the ball up in the air. Okay, fine, great. But the rest of your team is nothing other than Crochet. Your pitching staff is atrocious. They better hope they can get Bello back soon. Because the pitching staff, the starting pitching, all these guys, they're not that good. They're not that good. And then you got guys like Breslow, the GM president, whatever he is. He's stroking the nerds, making it seem like they're doing such a great job. He's talking about Christian Campbell like he's a Hall of Famer. The kid's played in 15 games. They gave Rafaela all that extension money last year. The kid's batting 110. He's batting below the Mendoza line. 110. He's not even as good as Jackie Bradley was. And you gave him all that money? That what the nerds told you to extend him? I would have got him a cup of coffee and a bus ticket and told him to leave town. Are you kidding me? But Cora can't make anybody better. Who has he made better? Let's think about it. Really think about what Cora's done. It's smoke and mirrors with this guy. The players love him. Fine. Okay, he's a player's guy. Okay, great. But what's he won? He almost walked out the door last year. I still don't know why he stayed here. I don't get why he stayed. I don't know why he stayed. But in retrospect, Chris and I were like, oh, at the beginning of last year, I hope you don't let him go. We'll get rid of Boone. We'll take him. I don't want him now. The more and more I watch Cora, I don't want Cora. Cora's a facade. He's a mirage. I don't want Cora. Unless he can prove me wrong. I don't think he's that good of a manager. Red Sox fans, you need to open your eyes. You can blame Breslow. You can blame the front office. You can blame the nerds. And yes, I agree. They're a problem. You can blame, John Henry. He don't want to spend any money. And that's all true. However, don't give the manager a pass. Don't give him a pass because people give him a pass. Don't give him one. Don't give him one. So that's my take on Cora. And I know we're going to get into the Red Sox in the baseball segment, but I had to talk about Cora separately, Chris.
Yeah, I mean,
Promise the fans, man. You promised the fans. You got to deliver.
And you delivered. Look how pissed off he is.
Because, Chris, he's a farce. He's a farce. Watch him manager. Watch him manage.
You're a Yankee fan. You got to hope he keeps doing
Chris,
that.
No, I'm an old school guy, Chris. He's not managing the game. He goes by numbers. He's playing analytics. He's not a manager.
Yeah, and that's what really pisses me off about him is, especially now, he may have done some stuff behind the scenes. I don't know, because all of a sudden Devers came back and was like, okay, I'll DH, but I don't think so. But I don't think so.
Wait till Devers goes into another slump, Chris. That'll be another facade because wait till he goes into another slump.
Well, but see, here's the thing.
You know what I mean? Wait.
And we'll get to that Devers with the rest of this team. But talking about Cora, no, I don't think he did go to Devers and say anything. I think he just let it play out. I think Devers on his own came to the conclusion that, you know what, they're not going to put me at third. Although Bregman's not making a huge case for himself either to stay there. But and like I said, we'll get to that when we talk Yankees versus Red Sox. But with Cora sticking to him, no, when we said, he shouldn't have re-signed, they should be, Boone should go and the Yankees should get him, right? That was before, I didn't even think it was before the All-Star break last year. It was like midsummer.
It was before
as the season
it was like
went,
in June.
As the season went, you can go back and listen to us. We started getting more and more off Cora. Because what he did with that team at the end of the year, how they just folded and they just where they had chances for playoffs, or they had thoughts to say, well, these MLB teams can get into the playoffs. They're sniffing at the playoffs. They were like 2-3 back from the wild card spot consistently. And he just wasn't doing anything to clean it up. And he didn't look like he was doing a real good job, man. It's kind of like he gave up on it too, just like the ownership did and just like the GM did. And what really upsets me about Cora and pisses me off is that with the analytics, when Breslow comes out and says that nonsense nonsensical take that he had last week. Oh, yeah, we did it, Campbell, we did it. We got a prospect to play for 12 games. I want to thank the academy. I want to thank this one. I want to thank that one. I want to thank this guy for helping. I want to thank that guy for getting pissed at Jim Rice so that he doesn't swing for just to make contact and get hits. This was the crap that was coming out of his mouth. And to me, you're the manager of this team. You should distance yourself from that nonsense. If it were me, I'd be like, he hasn't shown us anything yet. We're going to wait. Don't ask me about Campbell anymore. Ask me about the Boston Red Sox. He's got a lot of work to do, just like the rest of us do.
Yeah.
But you don't hear that coming out of his mouth. He wants to pull his pants down for the analytics guys, too, for all the nerds. Doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm with you. I don't like how we finished last year. And by the way, just really quick, like you mentioned it briefly, what has he done since 18? If you look at his, he's a guy that gets more out of less, right?
Chris, they finished in last place a couple of times since then.
Nobody's called him out on that.
No, he hasn't gotten more out of less lately at all. Listen, Chris, in 18.
What's it, 3 years in a row?
Yeah, if you remember back in 18, yeah, they won it, right? But they were cheating, and I'm going to give you an example. So back in 18, they play the Yankees in those London games, right? In London. Yeah. And one of the games, if you remember back then, the Yankees put up like 18 runs in one game, and they were hitting the ball all over the park. It was a crazy game, right? Red Sox might have scored like 8, but the Yankees scored like 18, 19 runs. It was a crazy score.
Yeah.
And after the game, they asked Cora. They said, "Oh, the Yankees were hitting the ball today. Blah 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 blah. What happened with your pitching?" Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And Cora looks and says, "Well, we know what they did, but we'll adjust. We'll be better next time. We know what they did." Like, in other words, he's telling you we know what they did. They were stealing signs because the Yankees were kind of accused of that in 18 a little bit too. He said, "We know what they did. We'll adjust." Like everybody was in those days. That was the big thing, but. He's basically telling you, yeah, they were stealing signs, but we'll get better at it because we're cheating too. Like he's basically telling you what's going on at that point in time, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
because they can't listen. He's one of these guys that can't manage their way out of stuff. He's sitting there during these games, and like I can't imagine what would happen if the internet crashed. During one of their games, or if all their computers went down.
Well, if you really look now, Chris, the manager can't have an iPad, I don't think, anymore in front of him. That's all he had. But in 18, Chris, that's all he had was that iPad in front of him. But now I think only the pitching coach can have one. They're charting pitches and all that stuff. I get it. But in 18, Chris, they were getting shit from the eye watchers in the bullpen. To the iPads, if you remember correctly, that whole thing came up, and that thing never left his side. It was in front of him the whole goddamn game in 18.
Right. Yeah, and again, I want to see him manage his way out without any of that. Like, get a feel for the game. Get a feel for the particular game that you're in. It just doesn't happen. It's just annoying. It's irritating. I'm with you, Mark. It's an irritating, annoying thing to watch. And the amount of stuff, the amount of credit he gets. Because people consider him one of the top managers in baseball.
Yes, they do. They really do.
And for all those accolades, where have they been for the last? It isn't even that they didn't make the playoffs or something like that. If you look at the last quarter of the season for each of the last 3 years, they've gone down. They've declined at the end of the at ends of season. Guys quit. Guys. Visibly, you could see guys giving up on the season. Mm-hmm. Each of the last 3 years, you see that happen at the end of the season. That's a manager, man.
Of course,
we can say what we want about Boone, and we can say all the crap we want. We don't like him, but they get to the World Series last year.
They did.
I mean, now he's not doing more with less. I mean, he's doing more with more.
No, he's not.
We can't make that argument, but
no,
But if you look at the Red Sox this year, and in the next segment, we're going to talk about the actual on-field stuff, the players with the Yankees and the Red Sox and what they're doing baseball-wise. But if you look at this team for the Red Sox, They should make the playoffs. They got enough talent to make the playoffs. And if they don't, I'm going to put it at the feet of. I'm going to put it directly, squarely at the feet of Cora. Period.
Chris, how about what I read at the beginning? The statement he makes after that Tampa game. That we weren't, one team wasn't prepared.
What, the 16-1 game?
Yeah. What I read at the beginning of Catone's comments, one team wasn't prepared. I'll take the blame for that. How are you not prepared? Your team not prepared.
But you take the blame. I'll take the blame for it. But where's the change? I could take the blame all I want, but if I'm not changing things up,
he sounded like Mayo, Chris. He sounded like Mayo.
God, we got to end on that note.
End on that.
Good stuff, Mark. Well, stay tuned because we're going to keep going. But Catone's comments was presented by the Pats Nation. Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Hey, make sure you're tuning in tomorrow. We're going to have draft talk. We're going to have wide receivers, running backs, draft scenarios, and so much more. But hey, we come back, going to continue the Yankees and Red Sox talk. No flipping.
Sundays are for football. And here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with Corso and Catone. Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. All right, let's continue talking Red Sox Yankees. Joe? Where's my Godzilla?
Godzilla's coming. He's coming. I had a few. I was like, I had a few issues with the audio. He's coming though.
Godzilla's coming, and he's hitting Tokyo soon. Mark, you know?
Yeah, I know. You
love it.
Please.
Listen,
you are dinosaurs. That's why.
I love it. On Sundays, that's what I love watching those.
He sent me a thing the other day, Joe. He's videotaping the TV screen, what he's watching. He's watching Godzilla.
On one screen.
Yeah,
on the other screen, I'm watching Thunder the Barbarian, the cartoon from like 1984.
I used to love that. Did
you watch the Battlehawks? Did you watch your St. Louis Battlehawks Sunday?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I watched a little of it. Did they win the game? No.
Why do you want to bring that kind of stuff up? I mean, you just gotta, because the quarterback that threw 2 picks in that game, okay, towards the end of the game, that they wanted to go get rid of A.J. McCarron. They wanted to get rid of him in the offseason when he didn't say yes to a $4 million contract 2 years before that with an NFL team. He decided to go play for them for like $80,000 or whatever it was, and because he wanted to play in front of his kids. So how do they repay him? They cut him. And they get this fool on the field who throws 2 picks at the end of that game, blows the game for him. Nice job, Battlehawks management.
You're actually talking about the battle. You have so many issues. My God.
But we're in Yankees Red Sox now. So, okay. So, Mark, we talked a little bit about the Red Sox. Let's want to continue with that, or you want to get the Yankees first? What do you want to do? What do you want to do,
Why
man?
don't we finish with the Red Sox, Chris? Because we were talking about
Paul.
Let's finish it.
21st in the league. Now, these numbers are as of the 14th of April.
Yep.
Of course, we're recording on a Thursday, right?
Yep.
So, 21st in the league in home runs, which is not, okay.
Yeah. Right.
165 strikeouts leads the Major League Baseball.
Yep.
Okay. They lead the league in errors. Mm-hmm. Lost 16-1 against Tampa in a 15,000 seat stadium, and George, the Yankee Stadium, no less.
No less.
George Steinbrenner Field over there that I guess the Rays are playing in. So this is all going on with this team. And the one thing I forgot to mention with Cora, I'll say it now, is they're bitching about the weather. These guys are bitching about the cold weather.
Well, that was back in Boston, yeah.
It was,
yeah.
but the point is, you take it all together. Bregman's leading all third basemen and errors, Stories. Campbell's a disaster in the field.
I don't know how Story is still in the major leagues, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day.
Right. And so again, Why is this team so bad in the field every single damn year? They're horrible defensively. They
Or
were
you don't
last
think
year.
that-
They
you
are
don't-
this
yeah,
year.
you don't think that's the manager?
It is. It is. And I didn't hear one guy like. You're right, Mark. They are soft. This team. They are soft. I mean,
They're a
when
soft
you're
team.
bitching about the weather and you're wearing those gaiters, and you mentioned that last week on this show, when they're wearing all that stuff and they're complaining about it, they're worried about the cold. Like both teams have. I didn't hear one guy, especially Cora, stood up and say, "What would Belichick say if somebody said something about the weather? What the hell would he say?"
Oh, you were nuts. You were nuts.
The first thing you would say is both teams have to deal with it.
Huh?
Both teams have to deal with it. That's no
Wait,
excuse.
the team that came from the dome dealt with it better than you did.
Exactly. Exactly. So the point is there's a fundamental issue on this team. And it's just that they're a soft team. And that and it's
And
our
I'm going
core.
to tell you something, Chris. They go to Chicago, White Sox, who stink. They beat you 2 out of 3 games. The only game you win is Crochet's game. You knew Crochet was going to be up to play against them. He almost throws a no-hitter, right? He struck out, 11, 12 guys. He almost throws a no-hitter. Okay, great. Chris, he's legit. That was a good deal. That was a great. I got to give the Red Sox credit for that deal, Chris. Crochet's legit.
Because they got him now at a bargain.
Yeah. And they extended him, right? At a bargain.
That's what I mean. They got him at a bargain now.
That kid's gonna be a Cy Young candidate. That kid's a stud. That was a good pickup for them. But other than him, Chris, the starting pitching has not been good. So you lose 2 out of 3 to the White Sox. You lose that 16-1 game to the Rays. These are teams, Chris, that are significantly below 500 that you're losing to. Right now, the Red Sox have a stretch of games against some easy competition.
Right.
If they don't stack up wins over the next
500 ball for them.
If they don't stack up wins over the next 7 or 8 games, I think the next 7 or 8 games against teams that are significantly below 500. If the Red Sox just play 500 baseball, Chris, they got a problem because then the schedule switches. Now you'll start to see them, start to do what they do. We're 5 out, we're 6 out, because this is the stretch of baseball where they should be racking up wins, and they're not racking up wins.
Well, they're 4-6 in the last 10.
Yeah. So, but this is the stretch of games, Chris. They should be racking up wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're not. And they have to. If they expect to, you can't, because you can't go into mid-May, into June, playing 500 baseball after you just played this type of the easiest part of your early schedule, because then you're going to get into playing better teams. That's a problem. So let's see what happens the next 8-10 games that takes them into May. But this is a stretch, Chris. They have to do better, and they're not,
Well, speaking of 500 baseball right now, the last 10 games, the New York Yankees have 5-5.
Well, the whole division, Chris, that whole
2 in a
division is
row.
struggling right now. Nobody in the division is playing well right now.
No, they're 10-7.
Yep.
Texas is 10-7. Toronto's 11-8. I mean, there's not a lot of good baseball being played right now.
Not in the American League. The National League there is, not in the American League.
So when it comes to the Yankees, well, go. I mean,
so the Yankees, Chris, listen, they're going to struggle, Chris, because they don't have. Schmidt pitched tonight, I believe. He finally came back. Clock Schmidt. You're missing 3 starters. You're missing Schmidt, Cole, Ill. Schmidt finally came back. So now Stroman got hurt. It looks like Stroman's going to be out. So they're struggling, Chris, with their starting pitching. Hence, like you always say, now you're going to overuse and tax the bullpen, right? Because your starting pitching can't give you any sort of distance, okay? Schmidt came back, I believe it's Thursday night. I believe Schmidt's pitching tonight. Ill, who hurt his lat, Rookie of the Year last year, his throwing program now is delayed, Chris, because he's still feeling tightness and stiffness. So they thought maybe he'd be back late June, All-Star break. You ain't going to see that kid maybe to the end of July now.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. And offensively, Chris.
Well, wait, he 4 innings pitched so far. He's given up 2 hits, 2 Ks. He's in the 4th.
Okay.
He's in the 4th with 2 outs. So he's pitched 4 2/3 so far. I'm sorry, 3 2/3 so far.
They need him.
He's got to go 2 more innings.
Yeah, he's got to go 2 more innings.
At least.
And Chris, as far as the hitting, what are you seeing with the hitting?
Inconsistency. where we saw a lot of hits, okay, early on. And we talked about the torpedo bat and all that other stuff. And then they leveled off. And I'm seeing a lot of inconsistency up and down the lineup, and it's coming from different places. So, you'll have Judge. He'll have maybe
Judge is batting 381. Judge isn't hitting for power.
Judge is batting 400.
Yeah, you can't blame Judge.
So
Judge isn't hitting.
But I'm saying
he's not hitting for power, but he's hitting, Chris.
But you'll see like Goldschmidt, he'll have a game or two, and then he'll drop off for 3 games. And then you'll see Volpe, the same kind of thing. Grisham, I like how Grisham has been playing, okay? But again, some of these guys, the catcher is, they're up and down. It's inconsistent, Mark, and the home runs are dropping off too a little bit.
Hey, Chris.
Which I don't mind if the home runs drop
Chris,
off.
Who's doing nothing? The big pickup, Bellinger. He's batting under 200.
Right, he's batting 173.
So that's a problem.
That's what I'm saying.
You thought he was going to help make up a little bit for the loss of Soto, but he's not giving you what you thought he was going to give you.
Dominguez is batting 264. Grisham's 324.
Dominguez, Chris, I'm okay with him batting 264 because he will get hot. The kid, he's learning. I think when the weather starts to get warmer in the summer, I think you'll see Dominguez go through a stretch where he starts hitting home runs.
But you have to end this, because I want you to get the PC. But to end this, the guys that are carrying this team right now: Goldschmidt, Judge, obviously, Grisham, and I guess you could say Dominguez is right behind that. But those are the guys carrying this team right now, offensively.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it plays out. But Mark, let's put a bow on the NCAA Providence College Friar season from our resident Friar himself.
Yeah, so they're in the middle. It's portal season, and I've already discussed the portal numerous times over the last month, right? So PC started out real hot in the portal, Chris. They lost a bunch of guys that went into the portal. Hopkins, Jaden Pierre. They had guys graduate. They had like at least 5 guys go in the portal, 6 guys, But they signed Jason Edwards, guard from Vanderbilt. Really good, was a real good scorer at Vanderbilt in the SEC against top-notch competition. I will make a prediction, Chris. This kid will be a top 5 scorer in the Big East. Top 5 scorer, maybe top 3 or 4 scorer in the Big East. I'm going to make that prediction. The kid can score, Chris. The kid can score. They picked up another good guard in Jalen Sellers, who was hurt last year at Central Florida. He's physical. He's a dog. He's about 6'4". Now, last year we thought they had decent guys coming in the portal. They fell on their face. But these are different types of guys. They've played at better schools. Daquan Davis, point guard, who they recruited out of high school, played at Florida State. They got him in the portal. But again, played at a better school, better competition, ACC. They got a kid, Cole Hargrave, 6'8", 6'9", power forward, rebounder, will come off the bench for them. He came from Drexel. I don't know how much he'll give you the competition at Drexel. We'll see. Now, they got a kid, Chris, from Europe. This kid's name is Stefan Vox. You look at the tape at this kid. He's only 17. He looks like a baby. A baby. Your buddy, I'm drawing a blank. Your buddy from Dallas that went to the Lakers.
Chubby?
Chubby. What the hell? What's Chubby? What's his name? Not Doncic. He looks like a baby Doncic. I'm telling you, he's in better shape than Doncic. So they need to get a replacement for Hopkins. They need a 4. They're still trying to get one in the portal. They need a 4. But these guys, Chris, let's see what happens. It's good. They've had a good early portal. They need one more guy. Let's see what happens. Hopefully things are looking up for them. But that's where they are, Chris. That's the end of college basketball season. We'll talk about it again come October.
There you go. So Corso and Catone was presented by the Pats Nation. Sundays, 8 a.m. Tomorrow we're going to have so much. I've already talked about it. We're going to have the draft talk and a lot more wide receivers, running backs. And come back next weekend, noon Eastern. We're going to have Celtics playoff talk. And since we will be recording before the draft, our final mock draft before So when you people are listening to it, you could see if we were right. We are Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. See you next Saturday.
Now find Corso and Catone on AM 790, The Score, iHeartRadio, iTunes, wherever you podcast. Or subscribe to the YouTube channel and catch the chaos every Saturday at noon.